singles classes, no marriage classes. We didn't even talk about that. As a matter of fact, we went to church where men went on one side of the church, women went on the other. And so consequently, me and my wife struggled in our marriage like most marriages do even to this day, where we have over 50% divorce rate. And we have that because we do not know. And so me and Dr. Grace just decided when we was about ready to give up that we weren't going to go out like that. So we started learning and we started researching. And God blessed us. And as I show this here real quickly, this PowerPoint, that's me and Dr. Grace when we first got married. Okay, y'all not working with a brother right there. Don't y'all talk about my Jerry curl. Oh, there was some juice up in there right there. Yeah, it was. But I kept it tight. But boy, wasn't Dr. Grace a beautiful girl? Look at that pretty girl right there. All the brothers in the church told me don't even waste my time with Grace Bennett, because Grace Bennett will eat up your money. She'll let you take her out to dinner, but she won't give you no play. Okay, y'all. They told me don't even try. But obviously something worked. I don't know what it is, but something did work. Praise Jesus. But you know what? Here we are 25 years later. That's our 25th wedding anniversary. And my smile is even bigger after 25 years. And that's significant. So how do we get there? How do we get from this couple that was ready to throw in? We was just talking with a couple, and they was going through all the issues. I said, welcome to the club, number one. And I said, this is what we do. This is what happens in marriages. Me and my wife went through the same thing. I said, if my wife sat down with you, I was talking to the young lady, I promise you, everything that you're telling me about your husband, she can tell you about hers. Every issue, every challenge, you always want to be right. I'm preaching all by myself. And I said to myself, well, who want to be wrong? Of course I'm right. Preach. Whoever went into an argument talking about, I know I'm wrong, but no. And so we started studying. It helped our marriage. Then God called us to pastor, and we looked out in the audience and saw young couples like you all going through the same exact issues. And so talking about intimacy, that should be in your handouts, intimacy. Let's spend the next few minutes talking about intimacy. Baby, while they're getting that presentation, why don't you go ahead and share something with us, introduce yourself. This is my lovely wife, that girl, that pretty girl y'all just saw.
Amen. Well, we are so excited that you chose to be here on a Saturday. I know women, there's a lot of things that we need to be doing. You're probably thinking about it now. Amen. But this is what we're talking about when we talk about investing. This is the best investment that you can ever make in your life, and is that person that is next to you. And for our singles, you know, you all as well learning. I heard you had a wonderful time on today. To me, it's a great joy, one, to serve my God, but also to be doing this with my best friend. And when I say he's my best friend, I literally mean that. If I have to leave him forever too long, I am pitiful. I am telling you, and I realize it because when I was going to Israel, when I got to the airport, I had nobody to carry my luggage. I'm fumbling and bumbling all with the suitcase. I just stopped, and I said to the folks with me, I said, I just miss my husband. I said, because see, when he's here, he opened the door, he get the suitcase. I said, I'm just so lost. And so I picked up some people that had pity on me, and they helped me with a suitcase, just, you know, fill in.
My wife did something crazy. Knew she was going to be gone 8 days, so she wrote me 8 cards and 8 letters to be opened up each day while she was gone. And I think I shared some of them, but yeah, that's what happens when you really start to get this stuff right. So let's talk about defining intimacy. Everybody say defining intimacy. Everybody say into me see. Into me see. Intimacy. I need y'all to get this, Dr. Grace.
So the phrase marital intimacy is frequently used to refer to sexual intercourse, but is also actually a broader concept that speaks to the connection between a husband and a wife. So intimacy is defined as a close familiarity or friendship.
It is a closeness or close connection between individuals.
The the intimacy between a husband and a wife.
Now, I need y'all to get this last one, and you may want to make note of this. Intimacy is the self-disclosure of personal, intimate information with hopes of reciprocation. I'm going to say that one more again. That was a mouthful. Intimacy, everybody hear me on this. Intimacy is the self-disclosure of personal, intimate information with the hopes of reciprocation. With the hopes of reciprocation. In a nutshell, when a man meets a woman and he's drawn to her or attracted to her, one of the things that happens is they begin to disclose intimate, personal information. That's why we talk on the phone all night long. Initially, we don't do it now. Hi, bye. But that's what happens. You are being intimate. That's why we spend all these times telling about our past and what happened in our day. It's a new person. You got this bubbly feeling in you about that individual, and you are disclosing information. And we spend hours upon hours doing it. Thank God for cell phones today, but back in my wife's day, it cost a brother a little piece of money. Because you actually had to pay for long distance. Y'all don't remember them days. I'm in a whole different generation. Millennials don't know nothing about that, where you actually had a real phone bill based upon how long you talked on the phone. Yeah. And I get so frustrated with my wife when she got frustrated with me, and she'd call home to her mama, and she'd stay on the phone forever. I said, you could have just bought you a plane ticket and went to go see her. But we would do this and talk. Intimacy is powerful, Grace.
Yes, and it's voluntary. We allow people to see who we are, what we fear, what our dreams are, what our hopes are, and what our desires are. I remember when my husband and I first met, and like he said, we were on the phone like, you getting ready to hang up? No, you hang up. No, you hang up. We would do that for the next 10 minutes, and then, he would start talking again. And I think he disclosed because he really felt close to me. He told me everything about all the girls. So when I went to Michigan to go visit and I ran into all his friends, I was like, oh, yeah, you were so-and-so. And I just kept my left eye on that one and my right eye on the other one. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, and so she's so-and-so. And he's like, yeah, but how you know that? I said, you told me. He said, I told you that? I said,
Self-disclose.
Yeah.
And it draws us close. Let me tell you how powerful that self-disclosing of intimacy is. It is so powerful, and Christian spoke to it about the whole texting phenomenon. It is so powerful that you can fall in love with a person you never met. And some people use that against you. They call it catfishing. You've never even seen the person, but you love them. And because y'all been disclosing. It's a phenomenon that when you share, even if it's on a text message over and over, and you discuss and you text and you tweet and you instant message and they instant message back to you, a bond gets formed because you are disclosing information, which is what happens to us at the beginning of relationships. We are being drawn close. This is why, and I got to shut some of this down, this is why when you're married, you don't self-disclose to other people, men. You don't self-disclose to other, y'all ain't kidding this. See, you don't even understand that, when you are tweeting and texting with another woman that's not your wife, you are opening yourself up to intimacy with that person. You didn't start out thinking you was going, okay, I got to say something. Okay, you didn't start out thinking you was going to have sex with him. Oh, which, by the way, we're going to explain why then people, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. You are self-disclosing. They are self-disclosing back to you. You're sharing intimate knowledge. They're giving you intimate knowledge back. And a bond gets formed. A bond gets formed. So since I have that knowledge, people sort of for a lack of knowledge, my wife don't have to worry about me cheating because I don't share like that with no other woman. Thank y'all for that one hand.
As well.
Thank you for that one hand.
Amen. Amen.
Because that's how y'all initially got together. Self-disclosing. That's what really made you fall in love with that man or that woman. You disclosed information, and they disclosed it back. We became open to each other. First Lady.
Amen. And so Mark chapter 12 and 30 says, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, meaning that with sincerity, with all thy soul, which involves our emotions, with all thy mind, our intellect, and with all our strength. That means that we should love God with energy. We should give him all that we have.
And so I need y'all to understand the significance of what she just read there, because that's the kind of relationship God wants with us, and that's the kind of relationship we start out giving to each other. All our heart, all our mind, all our will, all our strength, and we're just doing this, and we're disclosing this information, and they're disclosing, and that's what God wants you to do with him. He wants you to study his word. He wants you to spend time with him. He wants to have an intimate relationship with you. And at the beginning of our relationship with God, don't we feel like that? I mean, I have people like, we ain't got no more church service tomorrow. Now, these folks just got saved. The folks that's been saved for a while, when we gonna get out? I don't want to miss Golden Corral. Oh, no. Wow. I'm getting ready to come down a few rows now.
Right. One of the things we do with couples when we counsel is we have them do an assessment, a marriage communication assessment, so we can understand what their strengths and their weaknesses are. And then we also try to find out what their needs are. And one of mine happened to be quality time. Say it again, quality time. And my husband will tell you that, you know, one of the things that I fuss about is when everybody else gets his time and I get just what was the remain of his time, you know, then I'll be like, baby, it's time for vacation. And then when we get on vacation, let's go on a cruise. Because, you know, when you go on a cruise, you have no cell phone connection, you know, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. It's just me and him, you know. And so we've got to understand what our spouse's needs are.
And let me break her up. And quality time don't mean that she's with me, because quality times mean that she's with me and me alone. Absolutely. Because if she's with me in the TV watching the game, that don't count as quality time for her. If she's with me but with a whole bunch of friends, that don't count as quality time. See, I'm an outgoing person. I like to hang around folk. Well, she don't count that. Okay, y'all ain't working with me. She wants her own personal private time. That's her love language, and she needs that.
Yes, and so we've got to, you know, be mindful of that. They play loss of mental.
So let's talk about losing. So why do we lose? So everybody got has everybody got what intimacy is now? I'm trying to get some feedback from y'all. Do y'all have the definition? Do you understand, married couples, that that's what you engaged in at the beginning of your marriage? In married couples, do I have your attention? Do you understand that's what you did? You were becoming in love with each other because you found somebody, okay, yeah, I can work with that. You're like, yeah, he got some. He needs some rough edges, but we can get him he can get his teeth fixed and, you know, show him how to pull his pants up, but we can work with it. So, and then y'all start disclosing. That disclosing became intimate disclosing, and then you fell in love. Now, but we lose it. Everybody say loss. Too many marriages have disintegrated into relationships without intimacy or love.
They still play the part. They do their responsibility, continue their commitment, but God wants more in our relationships, and we deserve to give God more in our relationships.
Again, I told you that earlier. Nevertheless, I got something against you. You've left your first love. So, we have become a society. Check this out. Listen to me, couples. Singles, I need y'all to learn this stuff because you got to go down this road. We have become a society of married widows. Let me say that one more again. We are married, but we are widows. Amen. It's a biblical concept. Everybody say married, but widowed. Look at this. Look at this. We have become that. That means that we are married, but we live as though we are not. We are married, but we live as though we are not, because we no longer have that intimacy. Intimacy. And remember, intimacy, we use that into me see, is because that's what we were doing. We allowed our wife to see into us. she allowed us to see into her. That's intimacy, to see who you really are. And so we've lost it. We become married widows. And this is a powerful passage in 2 Samuel 20:3. Let's look at that.
When David came to his palace in Jerusalem, he took the 10 concubines he had left to look after the palace and placed them in seclusion. Their needs were provided for.
I'm going to do my duty.
But he had no longer slept with them.
But you can't have my intimacy.
So each of them lived like a widow until she died.
They were married, but they had no intimacy. They were kept. I'm doing my duty. I'm taking care of the wife.
Yes.
I'm taking care of the kids. But your wife feels like a married widow. I didn't mean to shut y'all down like that. Your husband feels like a married widow. You are still there. And God said to the church, that's not good enough. It's not good enough for you to keep coming to church. I want that first love.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want that tinkle, that twinkle. I want that pep. I want that jump. I want that. You couldn't, the first time my wife cooked for me, she was happy about that. Now she's like, time to make the donuts. This joker right here. Here. No, God say, I know it's the same food, but the way you're preparing it now, it ain't the same. You just throwing it at the table, leaving it in the microwave, leaving it in the oven, and then half burnt because you left the oven on 200. And, I don't want this. Well, maybe you ain't cheating, but you might as well be. Now, I ain't give nobody no permission to go cheat now. But, it ain't like I'm getting that much. I'm preaching all by myself now. Somebody say, married widow. We don't want to be married widows. And in church, we had a whole bunch of church folk that were married widows. They just playing the role in church, and these folks were not intimate with each other. Me and Dr. Grace go on these national conferences because we have a national role in the same vein in which we teach couples all over the country. We call it Covenant Keepers International. And we have a local chapter here in our church. But one of the things to do is, and most of the people, we talk to our pastors and pastors' wives, and they come to us afterwards and said, we don't even sleep in the same bedroom anymore. We haven't had sex in 3 years. And these are pastors and pastors' wives telling me this. Okay. And Dr. Grace?
So speaking of loss of intimacy, there's intimacy or interrogation.
Y'all, that's crazy. That's crazy. So what do we become? When you become a married widow, you stop being intimate. You become an interrogator. What did God do when he created Adam and Eve? He used to just walk in the garden and talk to them. Yeah. Hey, Adam, man, what's up, Doc? Jesus, I'm good. God, everything great. What's up, Doc? How you doing that? Good. Now, look, see that tree right there, Adam? Yeah, God. Don't y'all touch that. Okay, everything's cool. And God would just talk. Adam would just talk back because they were intimate. They were sharing knowledge. But then something happened. And then God came in the garden and said, Adam, where are you? He started interrogating him. Because, see, when you stop being intimate, I have to pry information out of you.
Yeah.
I have to start asking questions. Where you been?
Yeah.
Who you been talking to?
Yeah.
Who is this right here?
Right.
Why is this person on your phone all the time?
Mm-hmm.
So when we were intimate, we didn't do that. Why? Because we were seeing into me.
Mm-hmm.
But when things go a little fry, I all of a sudden want to get private. Y'all don't like this. Y'all don't like this. And so now all of a sudden, when you become private, I have to put on my interrogation hat,
Yes.
become a prosecutor, and start asking questions. Where art thou? I used to know where you was because you was texting me and calling me every 5 minutes, but now I ain't heard from you. Where art thou? You told me you was going to be home at 5. It's 11:30. Where you been? So I went from intimacy to an interrogator, a prosecutor. I am preaching right there. Oh, yes, I'm preaching. Because we stopped allowing our mate to see into us. So in order for her to get the information that she so craves because of intimacy, she got to become a prosecutor and pull it out of me. She got to become an investigator and become CIA and start picking on my phone and figuring out my code because I ain't told her my code. And she got to start tracking using Find Them All on the phone. Where is Negro at now? And because she has become a prosecutor and an investigator and a police because I'm no longer being into me see.
Yeah.
I'm covering up something.
Yeah.
Well, God, we had to cover ourselves up because we was ashamed.
Yeah.
Now God can't see into you and he's got to ask, where you been? Where you at? If you are intimate, your mate don't never have to know where you at because she already know. I'm a preacher all by myself. She don't have to know who you're talking to because she already know.
Amen.
Which was what we were doing when we first started dating.
Yes.
And God says, remember.
Remember.
And then he says, repent. What does repent mean? Go back to doing what you were doing
Yes.
when you first became intimate. Oh, boy. Y'all don't like this. Go ahead, baby. And where are we at?
We finished that.
Okay, we almost done. We finished that, baby?
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about intimacy or interrogation, intimacy or privacy. Well, I need my privacy. What are you trying to hide? Me and my wife have codes on our phones. It's the same exact code on both phones. So, I already know what her code is on her phone, and she knows what mine is on mine. So that's why I don't keep nothing on there that she can't see.
Yeah.
She don't keep nothing on mine that I can't see. My wife knows all my passwords because, see, I don't need y'all to see into me. So that's why I got passwords and codes. But I need her to see into me.
Absolutely.
That's intimacy. That's what we did when we first got together. And singles, that's what you're going to do when you meet somebody. You're going to let them see into you, and they're going to see, and you're going to see into them.
Yeah.
And then we get married, and we do something, and we start covering up.
Yeah.
And they got to become an interrogator and a prosecutor and investigator. Yeah. So, do we have intimacy or just sex? And I know y'all didn't like that. Y'all thought I was just going to talk about sex. But see, here's the problem. I'm going to show you all this real quick. Me and my wife are almost through. We got about 5 more minutes. Somebody say intimacy or just sex. Singles, y'all awfully quiet. Don't y'all shut down on me. Singles, make some noise.
They're taking notes.
Okay, I want to make sure y'all still in the house. Intimacy or just sex? Dr. Grace?
We all long for intimacy, and physical contact can appear to be intimacy, at least for the moment.
Say that one more time.
We all long for intimacy, and physical contact can also appear as intimacy, at least for a moment.
Although sex is defined as an intimate act, without intimacy, we can't truly experience all that God intended for us to experience. Let me talk to y'all about the garden hose with no water. Sex is like a garden hose. The garden hose doesn't produce water. Y'all ain't working with me. It is an expression of the water. It's still a garden hose.
Yes.
It lets the water flow through it.
Yes. Yes.
It's just a garden hose.
Yes.
If there is no water in the reservoir, you can turn it on all you want, but ain't nothing coming out. Sex is not intimacy. It is an expression of intimacy. The reason why couples have sex many times, even before marriage, is because they have been intimacy, and they want to express that intimacy through the water hose. Okay, y'all still ain't working with me. They're not necessarily being a dog. They just are intimate, and they don't have any boundaries, so they express their intimacy through the water hose. Y'all still ain't working with me. See, the sex ain't the intimacy. The intimacy is the intimacy. And when I'm intimate with you, I allow you to see into me, I can express that intimacy through the water hose of sex. Yeah. So stay with me. But then, if the water, if the reservoir dries up, I can still turn on the faucet, but there will be nothing coming through it. So if there is no intimacy in the marriage, then having sex will still not produce intimacy. Because sex is not intimacy, it is an expression of intimacy. So if you're not intimate before you have sex, preach right there. There will be no intimacy after sex. It'll just become a physical act. And a physical act, when you're through with the physical act, you leave $20 on the table and say, close the door when you leave. Am I being too grown for y'all?
No. And if I could just talk to the married couple.
Was that too much, First Lady?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. No, you're good. I just want to go a little deeper.
Go ahead, baby.
Say more. How you get more out of your water hose is the moments when you have opportunities to do the foreplay, pillow talk. You got to start in the morning and don't just wait to, when you're ready to, turn off the light. It's too late then. I mean, when she's in the kitchen cooking breakfast in the morning, that's when you pat her on the behind and rub her on the back and, and you start to warm her heart before
Share. Talk. That's what she's talking about. Doing those things that you used to do.
Absolutely.
That you don't do now. The reservoir is dry, and you wonder what come she don't want to have sex. I'm preaching about myself, because ain't nothing coming through the hose. You turning it on. I'm a preach. You turning the hose on, you over there, you're doing it like this, and the plants are like, for real? You for the plants that you're trying to water, like, for real? I see you waving your hands, but we still dry. I know you just got yours, but we still dry. We still dry. You done turned it on. Talking about, shh, ain't nothing coming out. Okay, y'all. See, this is what me and Dr. Grace do. We trying to get y'all back right and get new. And tell these singles, that's going to happen to you if you don't understand this process. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. Let me be real clear. Preach right there, Pastor Will. When that dam gets full, they have to release water.
Absolutely.
When the dam is full, they have to release water. When the dam is full, they have to release water. Why are y'all releasing so much water? Because the dam is full. I'm trying to get my brothers to get something here. When the dam is full, they have to release water. When the dam is full, when the reservoir is full, they have to release water. When it's full, water, because I'll bust if I don't get something out. And so, if you done gave me so much intimacy, I have to release this intimacy, because it's starting to back up. You're being too good to me. You're saying too many things to me. You're disclosing and sharing so much with me that my reservoir is so full. Baby, please turn on the water hose so I can express some of this backed up stuff. I'm going to preach all by myself. My wife don't have enough sex. What you got in the reservoir? My wife don't want to do it that much. What have you put in the reservoir? Thank you, brother. See, y'all ain't working with me. If you got stuff in the reservoir, she gon' go to the water, to the fountain herself, and she gonna start turning. Look, I'm getting backed up.
Wow. I think our time's about up, baby.
We got 1 minute, so we won't have time to finish. But in your notes, we talk about God's plan for intimacy to make us one spirit, one body, and one flesh. God's plan for intimacy to make us one spirit. I need everybody to understand. You can't really be truly intimate with a person if you're not intimate with God. You can fake it for a little while. You can do it for a little while. But it's going to take God's power to stay intimate with people who can be difficult sometimes.
Yes, yes.
Hallelujah. I need y'all to understand something here. That person will get on your nerves. You need the Spirit of God. You need the one flesh, one spirit, and one body. Dr. Grace, real quickly, in 47 seconds, just run through the 9 steps. That's in your notes, too, on improving your intimacy.
First step is to pray.
Men should always pray and not faint.
Listen always, don't fix.
God says, he that answers before the matter has been heard. Shut your mouth and just listen. Don't try to fix it. Just listen.
Be best friends.
Remember, I told you all about the fact that a lot of times we start being intimate and we go straight to sex and we never become friends. Friends are greater than sexual partners because you'll wake up in the middle of the night and go to the store for a friend. A sexual partner, you just leave $20 and say, okay, see you. Until the next time.
Keep the fire burning.
We talk about the power of the kiss. All this is in our book. And y'all remember when y'all first got together, the first time you kissed? Do you know couples have stopped kissing now? And that was a very integral part of your, so me and my wife always kisses. Young couples look at us and like, oh, that's so cute, because they've stopped doing it. They used to do it. They're slobbing all over each other initially. Tongue in, now you're doing all that stuff. And then now, 2 kids and 3 years later, y'all don't even kiss no more. You just hit it and quit it and leave. And you don't kiss no more. They don't like me, First Lady. Go ahead.
Number 5, exemplify leadership.
Husbands, God called us to be the head of the wife. You got to learn how to be a leader. And leader is not necessarily something that you're born with. It's something that you can learn, though. I've learned how to be a pastor. I learned how to be a leader. Jesus said, come and follow me, and I will show you how to be fishers of men. I will show you how to do that.
Number 6, submission is powerful.
Women need to understand what submission is and how to submit. One person came to me and said, Pastor, I don't get it. I don't understand. I try to be quiet when we're around folk, but then I got to tell them something when they gone now. So I'm trying to be, so explain to me submission.
Stop thinking so much about yourself.
We that are strong are to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. Your wife is not there for you. You are there for her. Amen. Your man is not there for you. You are there for him. You've got to change your mentality about what you're doing for me. No, what are you doing for them? That's what a servant is. Go ahead.
Number 8, stay in touch with your emotions.
Be angry, but sin not. That means that we know that there are going to be things that we're going to do that's going to make each other angry. Do not operate in anger. Do not operate in anger. I used to have an uncle. He was a drunk, and we used to go visit him. And he would hang out with us for the first 15, 20 minutes of the family visit. And then he'd say, all right, see y'all later. He would go to his room, shut the door, and get drunk. Because, see, he would get his drunk on, but he couldn't stay in the crowd because he might say and do some things. So when you get angry with your mate, you got to say, hold on, I got to go somewhere and shut the door. Because otherwise I'm going to do things that you don't need me to do around you. So you never allow your emotions to dictate your relationship.
And number 9, practice doing good to others.
Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men would do unto you, this is a golden rule, do ye also to them, so that this is the law of the prophets. Now, real quickly before we go, this teaching that Dr. Grace and I did is just one chapter from this book. And yes, I do get into a lot about sex, and everything is biblical. Everything is biblical. And we haven't talked about it in our churches. Even when I say the word, people cringe a little bit in church. I was teaching this a little bit, and somebody got up and walked out. How dare you? You can't talk about that in church. Listen, I talk about what God talks about. Yes. And it's in the Bible. Absolutely. He talks about enjoying the wife of your youth. Enjoy her breast. Oh, y'all ain't working with me. Y'all ain't working with a brother in the place. You breast men. The Bible said enjoy that. Enjoy all that. Y'all ain't working with me in this place. No, that's in the Bible. Bible talks about, okay, I ain't gonna get there. Y'all just read it. Read it. Some of y'all can give me an offering after you read this book. I promise you. Some of y'all can give me an offering after you read this book because it's gonna change your life. And we've had at least 4 couples who are ready to divorce. They stumbled across our Facebook Live segment on Monday mornings. And they said, from that point to this point, it has changed our marriage, and we're still together now. And it's because we're getting people knowledge. You're about to bust up and split up because you don't know how to do it. And you shouldn't know how to do it because nobody taught you. But when you decide you want to do it, go learn. And this one here is called marriage sex in the bedroom.